Gematria is not a thing. No, there's something in numbers, but your own interpretation of the numbers to argue that there isn't a numerological aspect to the Bible is would be wrong to argue that there isn't. It's the problem is with someone like Marty is that they start inventing what the meanings of this is.
People have made this claim or accusation over the years. Basically, it's like, oh, well, you can fit numbers, you can invent the meaning and that sort of stuff. And so we're going to tackle that particular accusation and claim and criticism today. And so we're not going to be force-fitting meaning of numbers. We're just going to look at what this cipher derives in 4 different languages, and then I'm going to ask you guys. First question I'm going to ask is this. What relationship do you have to these 2 numbers? What is your relationship to these numbers? And specifically the number 180 and then the number 365. So what we're going to do is look at what's right in front of us. God put 10 little digits. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to be looking at these 2 today. And we're going to look at the spellings of those 10 digits, 0 through 9 or 1 through 10, in 4 different languages. One of the rules in Gematria is called the Rule of Kell, and it's a Kabbalistic rule. States that 1 digit can be added to or subtracted from the Gematria value of a word without affecting its value. And it goes on to say, this seems to be, to modern ears, to be a cheat. However, the Kabbalists explained the rule by pointing out that for them, 1 was not a number. The monad symbolizes the divinity and could come and go as he pleased, adding nothing and taking nothing away. So this is just one of the explanations of why you can add or subtract 1. Shakespeare refers to the concept, this Rule of Kell, in his sonnets, where he writes, among a number 1 is reckoned none. Among a number 1 is reckoned none. This is a poetic way of basically saying, look, you have 1, you can take it away, you can add to it. Among a number 1 is reckoned none. English, 0 through 9. You can double check all of this work. You do not need to rely on me to do any of this stuff. You do not need to trust me. Go ahead and add it up. And you know what you get? You get 180. So that's 180. Well, what is that? Well, once again, why is Christ a Trinity? Why is he involved in a Trinity at all? Why do they have triangles behind them? Why? Maybe there's a deeper meaning there. Maybe the meaning is crafted within our own language. So there's 0 through 9, which equals 180. And of course, if we go English 1 through 10, it equals 180. So it doesn't matter if you're using 0 through 9 to count, which is the decimal system, or just how we normally count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It equals 180. So let's move on to those Frenchies. Here's the French male 1 through 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then, of course, you have the female 1 through 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm sorry, I don't speak other languages. There you go. So 1 through 10 on the left there's the French. And what do you have? 180, right? Smack on the money. 180. Once again, this is the internal degrees of the triangle. Okay. So now you have the French female, and that equals 185. Well, that's not the internal degrees of the triangle, so I guess we're force-fitting stuff here, right? And so what happens when a French male and a French female come together and hold hands? What number is derived? Is it 365? Here's the French male, 0 through 9, and French female, 0 through 9. So once again, we're looking at, instead of 1 through 10, we're just looking at 0 through 9. So now we have 181 and 186. Well, that's not 180, and you add those together as, that's 367 or whatever. That's not. Marty, you're force-fitting stuff. Okay, but let's go back to our Rule of Kell. Once again, this is a rule, a Kabbalistic rule. This is something that you need to utilize in order to understand what's being decoded. So the Kabbalistic Rule of Kell states that 1 digit can be added to or subtracted from the Gematria value of a word without affecting its value. So let's do this with the French. -1 on the left there. What do you have? 180. -1 on the right there with the French female, 186. What do you have? 185. So all we're doing is using the rules of the very system, Gematria system that we're using to decode these languages, using the rules, and what do we get? 180, 185. Now, let's let that male and female, that man and woman join hands, and what do they have? Is that 365? Here's Spanish. How about this one? Here's the Spanish male 1 through 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Something like that. Spanish male 1 through 10, what do you got? 180. Smack right dab on the money there. Spanish male 1 through 10, 180. So now we have 180 and 181. Spanish female 1 through 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 181. Okay, well, just use the rule of Kell. -1 from over there. 181 now becomes 180. No force fitting. No nothing. Just here's the words. Here's the cipher. Plug in the numbers, and what do you get? Now let's look at Spanish. So 0, 1, 2. So this is 0 through 9 and 1 through 10. Okay. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then, of course, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there you have 182 and 182. Okay, well, now join hands. 182 plus 182 is 364. Okay, we'll go back to your rule of Kell. 364, just add 1. What do you have now? You have 365. 365. Here's Spanish male 0 through 9. So instead of uno, you're using un. On the female, instead of uno, you're using una. So this is Spanish male 0 through 9 and female 0 through 9. On the left there, the Spanish male 0 through 9 is 180. And then on the right there, the female is 181. Okay, just use the rule of Kell and take 1 away from the 181. Here's the German. Here you have the German male 0 through 9, and then the German female 0 through 9. 180 on the left, 185 on the right. I put those together. What do you got? Is that the 365 days of the solar year? 365. 365. And there's German 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that. 181, and this, 0 through 9, your decimal system, your deca, 0 through 9 equals 181. Use the rule of Kell. What do you got? The internal degrees of the triangle. So there's that. Now, you can do what I just did. French, English, Spanish, German, and you can go to their site. So you can go to gematriator.com and you can perform this little experiment for yourself, and I highly recommend you do that. And you know what you're going to get? A mishmash and menagerie of a bunch of random frickin' numbers that nobody has any relationship to. This is called force-fitting stuff. This is called inventing the meaning. And this is where I'll say, absolutely, lots of people that do Gematria invent the meaning and force-fit stuff. Absolutely. So you can go to gematriator.com and you can perform this little experiment that we just did today, and you can find the results yourself. So I just did the 2 here on one of the 4 base ciphers, whatever the hell that means. And so you did 0 through 9 at the top there, and you get an ordinal 522. And then you go to 1 through 10 there, and you get ordinal, and you get 497. Well, what's your guys' relationship to the number 497? How about 522? What happens when you do this in Spanish 0 through 9, or Spanish 1 through 10, or the male or the female, or you do it in French? Do you know what you're going to get? Not 180 every single time, not 360 or 365, numbers that we have direct relationships to. So you will find no congruence with any of the ciphers on this site. What we just found there, you won't find anything of the sort. Punch in a bunch of stuff into a calculator, getting random numbers, and then this is where I will criticize, force-fitting that meaning. Well, that's not what we're doing here. That's not what we're doing here at the Gnostic Church and Academy of Lord Jesus Christ.